At UNRA, our shared purpose is to efficiently develop and maintain a safe and sustainable national road network for economic development. In doing so, there are strategies that we formulated from the onset to implement the set targets over the years to achieve the Uganda Vision 2040. Whereas UNRA's efforts and outputs have facilitated many other government efforts and initiatives, within the framework, part of our strategy embedded in the corporate strategic plan was to focus on key primary growth areas highlighted as tourism, oil, gas and energy, agriculture, social services and industrialization, and also a strategic focus on improving transit through the cities.
If the growth area is oil, then we will design the plan to address roads in that area. If a growth area is tourism, then you will find tourism in the plan. If it is industry, wherever industry might be, then the roads must be able to be constructed to support the growth of industry.
So we are facilitating that growth to make sure the growth is much faster than it is.
Today, as a result of meticulous efforts, the organization has registered enormous success. But to fully appreciate the impact of the above efforts, one needs to categorically understand where we came from in regards to the highlighted primary growth areas. We will show you how it started, how it's going, with an emphasis on the socio-economic transformation impact attributed to the efforts implemented. Tourism has grown tremendously over the last decade with the improvement in security in the northern part of the country and huge infrastructure investments by government and partly the private sector. Incredible as it may seem today, 10 years ago many tourist sites that today seem well established either did not exist in their present form, were off limits or unknown to travelers, or were far less accessible than they are now. By 2014, only 1.4 million international tourists were registered annually with barely any traces of local tourism. This was a very slow growth, far below potential, and one of the side factors highlighted to have affected the tourism volume and value in the country was the poor state of the roads leading to the tourism facilities.
We're losing a lot of tourists because, as I said, we are a tourism district. The word the part of Africa came from this district. There is no any other district with 32 crater lakes and surrounded by those natural resources. So there is a lot of biodiversity in our district. So that means here we would lose. We can't sell our food, our hotels. We have 21 tourist hotels. So they were not getting tourists.
I've been in tourism for about 26 years right now. And for anybody driving from Muslim Falls National Park to, say, Kibale National Park, which was about 480 kilometers, you'd take a minimum of 12 to 13 hours. For anybody to go to Kidepo, sometimes you needed 2 days. So you'd leave Kampala, go and spend a night in Gulu, and then continue from Gulu to Kitgum to Kidepo.
The poor road infrastructure not only meant longer travel time and cost, but also meant inaccessibility to some places sometimes. In 2016, the government set out to boost the annual number of visitors to 4 million for the next 5 years by improving the roads accessing game parks and other tourist attractions, packaged and developed as tourism roads. Today, we have witnessed increase to target levels of visitors and their spending, and the 10% of value expenditure registered is attributed to the improved access.
But most importantly, we have identified over 72 roads nationwide that will facilitate tourism. Most of these roads have been started on, others are in the advanced stages of procurement.
Some of these include Kabale Lake Bunyonyi, Kisoro Gahinga National Park Rubuguri, Jinja Bujagali Tanda Falls, Kasanje Sisa Kisubi, Tororo Bududa Elgon Park Boundary, Sironko Bulambuli Elgon Park Boundary, Karenga Apoka, Sudan Border, Kapong, Bulisa Para, among others.
Today, as I speak, I can have breakfast in Murchison and have lunch in Fort Portal or Kibale National Park. That is because of the general improvement of the road network. Today, if you left Muslim Falls National Park, depending on where you sleep, and you went through Bulisa, Hoima, Chenjojo, a lot of that road is really tarmacked.
Uganda today does not lack accessible travel highlights. There is the opportunity to trek within meters of the world's last few hundred mountain gorillas, arguably the most exciting wildlife encounter Africa has to offer. Trunk roads have improved beyond recognition, as has the overall standard of the local tour operators, public transport and the hospitality business in general.
So you'll find that if I was spending 300 million shillings on maintaining Great Lake Safari's cars every year, I have now gone to about 120 million shillings. So I've reduced the cost of maintaining my cars. That also helps enhance the growth of the business, because then I can now invest in other places. So in the last 6 years, I've personally invested more in tourism infrastructure, the boats, I invested in more lodges, and it's because there is hope.
Uganda's tourist arrivals hit an all-time high in 2019 with 1,542,620 tourists, but suddenly dropped to 473,085 tourists due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but is projected to recover rapidly. The sector today contributes $1.73 billion to the GDP, which represents a 9% share of the gross domestic product and employs up to 375,000 people.
But generally speaking, I think UNRWA in the last 5, 6, 10 years have done a fantastic job.
So all areas where we have our tourist attractions, national parks and others, we have a major program of constructing roads in those areas under NDP3 program.
In our next episode, we will look deeply into another growth area, oil, gas and energy, and show you the transformation journey of how well-developed national roads are leading to the socio-economic transformation thus far.